EPA delays methane rule. What it means for climate and communities. Imagine this. A decision that could allow millions of tons of potent greenhouse gases to flood our atmosphere, all while sidelining public opinion. This isn't science fiction. It's the reality we're facing as the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, recently announced an extension for oil and gas companies to comply with methane emission regulations. What makes this move particularly contentious is how it aligns closely with requests from the fossil fuel industry itself, sparking heated debate among environmentalists, legal experts, and industry representatives alike. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this necessary, or just another concession to big energy? Let's dive deeper into what's at stake. On Thursday, the EPA formally issued a rule extending deadlines for the oil and natural gas sector to adhere to stricter limits on methane and other harmful pollutants. According to an email statement from the agency, this adjustment, signed into effect earlier in the week, was framed as an essential step toward unleashing America's domestic energy potential. The justification given was that the extended timelines provide more realistic opportunities for operators to meet requirements and for states to draft plans addressing the emissions from existing facilities. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, not everyone agrees. Environmental advocates have been vocal in their criticism, calling the decision a giveaway to the fossil fuel giants. They argue that the process ignored a critical procedural safeguard, a chance for the public to voice concerns before the rule was finalized. Alexandra Schluntz, a senior attorney at Earth Justice, didn't mince words when she stated, "The Trump administration has once again shown its blatant disregard for legal processes by rushing through a rule that lets oil and gas companies off the hook to pollute freely, endangering both human health and the environment." So, what exactly does this mean in practice? Back in 2024, under the Biden-Harris administration, new regulations were introduced to curb methane leaks and replace outdated equipment like process controllers with zero-emission alternatives. These measures were set to take full effect in May 2024, but have now been delayed until January 2027, an 18-month reprieve for the industry. Additionally, the interim final rule postpones the launch of a program allowing EPA-approved third parties to report major leaks, further complicating accountability efforts. And this is the part most people miss. Critic Mayar Saror, director of Beyond Fossil Fuels Policy at the Sierra Club, pointed out that numerous operators have either complied with these standards for nearly a year or are actively investing in strategies to reduce methane pollution. Delaying implementation only rewards the worst offenders, he emphasized, giving them a free pass to continue polluting without repercussions for nearby communities. Interestingly, even within the oil and gas industry, opinions appear divided. While some insiders confirmed that the sector had indeed requested the extension, they also noted that a significant portion of the industry is already meeting the 2024 rule's demands. Scott Lauerman, spokesperson for the American Petroleum Institute, API, expressed his organization's preference for maintaining smart, balanced regulations rather than scrapping the rules entirely. He referenced a memo sent to President Trump's transition team, suggesting ways to refine the regulation, a nod to collaboration, perhaps, but one that raises questions about influence over policy. But let's talk numbers, because they tell a compelling story. According to the EPA's own data, the delay could result in an additional 3.8 million tons of methane being released between 2028 and 2038. To put that into perspective, that's equivalent to the annual greenhouse. As the International Energy Agency highlights, methane accounts for roughly 1/3 of the global temperature rise since the Industrial Revolution. Hours after the rule was published, a coalition of environmental, health, and community groups filed a lawsuit challenging the delay. Their argument centers on the belief that bypassing public input violates the Administrative Procedure Act, APA. Maggie Coulter, a senior attorney at the Center for Biological Diversity, explained that federal agencies must go through notice and comment periods when creating or amending rules. This isn't just about methane, Coulter said. It's an attack on the fundamental principles of transparency and democracy in regulatory policymaking. Grace Smith, a senior attorney at the Environmental Defense Fund, echoed this sentiment, labeling the move unlawful and stressing the importance of public feedback in crafting robust, informed policies. Meanwhile, Schluntz noted that the EPA appears to be invoking the good cause exception, a loophole typically reserved for emergencies, to justify skipping the usual comment period. Yet, past court rulings suggest such exceptions should be rare, leaving room for potential legal challenges down the line. What happens next remains uncertain. An EPA representative indicated that this extension might merely be the beginning, hinting at broader revisions to Clean Air Act regulations governing the oil and gas industry. Administrator Lee Zeldin's recent announcement suggests the agency aims to bolster energy dominance while continuing progress in clean energy initiatives. However, Schluntz warned that rolling back the 2024 rule entirely could spell disaster for climate goals and public health. She highlighted that the original regulation aimed to cut U.S. emissions by 2%, a substantial achievement for any single policy. Moreover, reducing VOCs would alleviate serious health issues like heart and lung problems, preventing hospitalizations, missed workdays, and childhood asthma cases. For vulnerable populations, including low-income neighborhoods and communities of color near industrial sites, the stakes are even higher. Schluntz reminded us that these groups bear the brunt of pollution-related illnesses, making the rollback especially troubling. Now, here's a thought-provoking question for you. Should regulatory agencies prioritize economic growth over environmental protection? And if so, where do we draw the line? Do you agree with the EPA's decision, or do you think it undermines trust in government oversight? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.